Hey, this is Mike Diercksen from Proactive, and you're listening to the Building Byte podcast. Tune in as we spotlight our guest, Josh Levy, co-founder and CEO of Document Crunch. Our episode today is focused on AI, a valuable tool to combat market disruption. For more information on this episode and others, please check out the Building Byte at www.buildwithproactive.com.
Welcome to the Building Byte podcast, a podcast for construction contractors, owners, and insurance professionals, where you'll hear from the experts about key topics that'll help you be successful. I'm Chris Epps, a vice president with Proactive, and I'm joined here with my co-host, Mike Diercksen, our manager of marketing and business development. Today, we welcome back a guest and a true innovator and dynamic presenter, Josh Levy, co-founder and CEO of Document Crunch. Josh, welcome back. How are you this afternoon?
I'm doing all right, Chris and Michael. Good to see you both. Good to be back for sure. Though a little bit of crazy times in the world right now.
That it is. We're happy to have you back to talk about it and talk about what you guys are doing in that space. So before we get started, Mike, how about yourself? How are you this afternoon?
I'm doing good, Chris. Happy to have Josh back on the show. And, he's a big Gator over there. I'm a big Gator supporter myself. So winning the national championship the other night, all in good spirits here.
Great way to kick it off. Before we jump into our main topic, Josh, I was hoping you could maybe refresh our audience a little bit on your history, a little bit about yourself and your journey to co-founding Document Crunch.
Yeah, absolutely. I prior to being the founder of this company, I have never done anything in technology. I spent my entire career in the construction industry. Was a construction management major from the University of Florida, the 2025 national championship University of Florida. If I seem a little tired today, it's because we're recording this after a late night last night when we watched them win the big tournament. But anyway, was a construction management major there, decided to go to law school, practiced exclusively in the construction law space in my hometown of Miami for a very large firm that represents a lot of big general contractors. I think I came across you all first there. But anyway, was there for several years. A little over 10 years ago, or actually almost exactly 10 years ago now, J.E. Dunn Construction brought me in-house in Atlanta. So I ended up moving here where I am today. And I ended up, kind of coming up in their legal department, ended up running their legal department in the Southeast. The company grew quite a bit while I was there. And then also had a shorter stint in the early days of COVID at a company called Wood, which is really a vertically integrated engineering EPC firm with a big footprint in North America. And so I went and led their North and South American EPC portfolio from a contracting, and it wasn't an official legal role. It was more of a business role, but a lot of the contract administration. Anyway, in all of these cases, I came to appreciate just how big of a pain point risk is for our industry related to the contract, but also other project documents. That starts, of course, with bidding and negotiating contracts and making sure they're set up the right way. But where it actually manifests the most, and what we're going to talk about today, is even if you would have paid me a lot of money to negotiate a contract that said you get X, Y, and Z if tariffs happen, if the folks in the field don't know how to ask the right way or give notice the right way or whatnot, you can, at best give up profit maybe that you were entitled to. But at worst, this is where all claims and litigation stems from, the lack of understanding administration of project documents at the project level. So anyway, in response to that, we created Document Crunch, really probably brought in quite a bit since we were last on, but we like to call ourselves a risk reduction platform powered by AI, which really helps construction companies stay compliant with their project documents throughout the entire project lifecycle. And I'll just share maybe a little bit of, kind of where we're at right now from a mission and vision standpoint. Because again, I think it's come a long way maybe since we last spent time together. But we believe that we can help achieve better project outcomes by allowing construction teams to make informed decisions throughout the entire project. That's kind of the mission that we're on right now. And really the vision that I have is a construction industry with zero disputes and stronger relationships. And I think that's really important. I know it's aspirational, but kind of like we decided once upon a time as an industry that we were going to put an emphasis on a safety culture and that, one injury was one injury too many. I feel the same way about disputes. And I think that if we can drive informed decision making to project teams, I think that the likelihood of disputes goes down quite a bit. You don't only get better project outcomes, but when you don't have these claims that spin out of control or these disputes, I believe you have stronger relationships, certainly externally with other stakeholders, but kind of similarly by informing construction teams, in a very efficient way of what they should be doing at various points in time. I also think it drives better relationships internally too. And so anyway, that's the vision. Construction industry with zero disputes and stronger relationships. That's what we're driving toward.
Yeah, that's awesome, Josh. And one of the major through lines every time, doesn't matter who we talk to, stakeholders in the industry, communication, right? It's a people business. You need to communicate efficiently. And the firms that figure out how to best do that tend to be very successful. So for today's topic, kind of alluded to at the top here, it's a focus on AI and how it's a valuable tool to combat market disruption. So I really like what you said, Josh. I wrote that down. Risk reduction platform. That's what Document Crunch is. And you guys are able to kind of help streamline that communication and assist your users in doing so. That being said, when we're talking about market disruption, there's specifically some news about the tariffs that have been going on. I think it's a timely topic for us, and how that's going to impact our industry. You guys actually recently created a tool to help kind of streamline that process and help your insurers here, or your clients. Could you tell us a little bit about your Tarriff Risk Assessment Tool and what that looks like for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. And let's go back to that mission, right? Empowering teams to competently make informed decisions that reduce risk and deliver better outcomes, right? So here's the deal. Things happen in construction every day. Something really big happened at once to everyone in construction over the last few weeks, which is this assessment of tariffs. But the assessment of tariffs could be synonymous with a rain event at your project, or synonymous with the design discrepancy, or synonymous with all the myriad of things that could happen any single day. This tariff issue, though, is so big because it's impacting the entire industry at once. So what does this mean? Well, what we know it means is it's likely going to impact construction prices on some level. And so, of course, we need to think about the long term of like how you would want to protect yourself if the prices of construction are going to go up, or if there's a likelihood that it will go up. Where I think things get really hairy is that spat of projects that's already underway, where a contract has already been signed, a price has already been agreed to, and now the prices have gone up, maybe before the materials were procured, because we all know that these things are committed to maybe in advance. And so when we talk about, empowering construction teams to make confident decisions and informed decisions, number one, you should be diving in right now to your projects and understanding who bears the risk of this situation. And so for a lot of people in our industry, that's a pretty big undertaking, because maybe it's not something that's like easy for them to digest, or maybe they have a lot to digest because they're doing a lot of projects. And it's really important that you get this information. You just talked about it, Michael, communication. There's a chance you own the risk. There's a chance someone else owns the risk, but being prepared, being confident, starting to think through how you can mitigate, it starts with having a fundamental baseline understanding of, like, what's your exposure? What do you do? And at the core of the word contractor is the contract. It drives everything that we do. So yes, our core competency at Document Crunch was we've started automating document reviews for various use cases. And this is simply a task that we've created in Document Crunch, if you will, which is essentially to audit your contracts so that you understand like where the tariff exposure is and what to do. And the reason why we think that's important is, going back to the scenario, is we want to speed up that time to knowledge, whether, this is super complex for you to do, on your own as a page turn, or you've just got a lot to do. We want you to spend more of your time thinking about how you're going to manage this risk, and less time hunting and trying to figure out what this really means for you. And so all that to be said, we've created this specific tariff audit assessment in Document Crunch, where we will do that automated. We started giving that to our current customers, as news of these tariffs were breaking. This is now a month or so ago. And our customers said to us, this is just really helpful. It's achieving the desired effect of helping us navigate this uncertainty, like with a lot more efficiency and a lot more knowledge. And I think the big inflection point for me was about a month ago. I was just thinking about the industry, and we talk a lot about Document Crunch. Our first core values were warm-hearted, and like to me, that means we're a very relational company. You just nailed it, Michael. Why? I mean, I'm an industry guy. The industry is very relational. We're very relational. We want to be a great partner. And I think about how I think about my personal life. I think about how I think about running Document Crunch. Being a great partner is not just high-fiving everybody when you make a big sale or something big happens for the company, or your kids get an A on their tests. Like those are like the times to celebrate, but that's not all being a good partner is. Being a good partner is consoling your kid when they miss their penalty kick at the soccer game. Being a good partner is wrapping your arms around someone at Document Crunch when they're struggling with a project, or they need a little bit of encouragement. Being a good partner to our industry means, what could we do to help? This is a really big deal for the industry. Like, there's no doubt. Again, it's like every project was just hit with rain on the same day. Like, it's disruptive. Like, that's what tariffs are for our industry. And so we started thinking about, like, what does it mean to be a good partner? And so we decided to make this tariff assessment tool or task free for anybody in the industry, whether you are a customer of ours or not. And I think about this on two levels. One, I care deeply about this industry, and I want to model what being a great partner is. And two, like, look, candidly, it's good business sense. I'm a stakeholder in this industry, as are all of you. We have long-term interests in the health of our industry. Like, we want our industry to be strong. And if this can help folks better assess risk, make those informed decisions, and start moving to mitigating the risk rather than maybe getting rolled over by the risk, that's what we decided to do. So yes, this is now free. It's free for a limited time after you onboard with us, or for a limited amount. There's a cost to us. There's a compute cost to us. So it's not something that we could just like make a forever free, maybe one day, but not yet. But in any event, we definitely know it's gotten the party started, and for a lot of folks, and like really digging in, and it's just got an overwhelming support really from across the entire industry. I mean, it's been incredible to see now some of the other tech platforms. Tomorrow, I'm doing a webinar with the ABC nationally. Some of our big partners like the Procores, the Trimbles, the Nemencheck/Bluebeams of the world. I mean, I think you all have seen. There's just been an incredible outpouring of support, because at the end of the day, we should all care about this industry. At the end of the day, yes, sometimes you lose a little money, sometimes you make a little money, but long-term sustainability in a healthy industry is really important to us all. And I think that that's what really inspired us, not just creating the tool, which was opportunistic, but then giving it away, which hopefully, if we can save just one company, that would help me sleep better at night. But I feel fairly confident now that we're doing a lot more than that. And so, you're getting me now several weeks into this, and it's been excellent.
Yeah, it's an exciting offering, and honestly, it's a really dynamic thing that you guys were able to accomplish here. Personally, when I think of AI, I think people speak about it so abstractly. It's like, it's this big encompassing thing, right? It kind of helps you deal with the big swath issues, big data issues. But your team really chose to hone in on specific needs, right? And so that's something that got very granular, and I think it provides a great value. As an industry leader in that sense, is that something you see as a future trend for AI software companies, in especially the construction industry? Like, is it going to get more granular, you think, to tackle specific issues, or is it going to stay kind of that big, large, sweeping data sets?
We have certainly been the major beneficiary of starting very granular. We started very granular because of, I just told you about my background. I mean, we really started crunching contracts, for risk. That's where we started. Because of the proliferation of the technology, I think about us as almost like a real-time Big Bang theory, where we started with this one problem, and now it's much easier for us to solve more. But it's all really related to the same problem. So I would say that, we want to be a risk reduction platform. I don't want to just do generic AI. I don't want to just be a Q&A, platform like you're seeing a ChatGPT. We want to be very specific and purpose-driven for construction, but we were never called Contract Crunch. We've been called document crunch since the beginning of time. And so like what you are seeing with us now is we've naturally moved on to a lot of other documents. Our fastest growing category right now is in pre-construction around specifications. But at the same time, we also now have thousands of project teams using document crunch every single day because we're able to deliver just-in-time insights for them around certain workflows. And now that we've been able to like really get dialed in onto like what's important in these documents and how do you think about automating the review of these documents, you are going to see us starting to automate more jobs, or I shouldn't say jobs, I should say tasks that some of these project managers go through every day or project teams go through every day, which do require a knowledge of the documents and then them to do a task the right way. So like one of the areas that's really taken off for us is we can now draft a contractually compliant notice for you when something happens on your job site. And so there's just a lot of areas I think about in pre-construction, in project administration, change management, et cetera, that will start automating more work, again, with the mission to, help project teams make confident and informed decisions, which get better project outcomes. I mean, that's the bottom line. And so I would say that's a very long-winded answer, which is to say, yes, the focus has been the best thing that's happened to us. We were able to build a brand and a reputation on doing one thing really well, which now gives us a license to continue expanding. And, we've really turned into a platform over the last year and a half or so.
Yeah, and what a great way to expand in just adding, I guess, a free tool or free capability relative to this, tariff review. And that's super generous offering for your clients and for those out there that can use that tool. It seems to be a bit of a rising tide raises all ships relative to the industry, as you suggested, Josh. If you had to sort of predict where that goes from here and maybe how that impacts the industry as a whole 5 or 10 years down the road, what do you think that looks like?
Well, I'd like to think that my vision will come into fruition. So, no, I am serious. I mean, that's the aspiration. That's the North Star. I think that there's a world where we, like safety, can start a whole new movement right now. And that can be a movement around zero disputes, like zero disputes. Why? Like no one wins in these disputes. The industry doesn't win in these disputes. And so that's what I'm driving toward. And I think that like we can do that. And you'll hear a lot more from us and how we start to think about, measuring that over time. But that's my North Star. I don't think it's a necessary part of our industry. So someone asked, and like this is again, Michael, where you can, I guess, you can think about AI broadly, or you can think about AI in a very narrow way. I was talking in Manhattan the week before last, and someone in the audience said, a lot of the buildings behind you, they were built without AI. Like, why do we need this AI stuff? And I said, you're right. But you know what? A lot of those buildings were also built without hard hats. And the truth is, what happened on some of those projects? Like, did the buildings get built? Yes. Did we inflict what we now know to be unnecessary pain and suffering and loss of everything from lives to dollars, all the things? Yes, we did. And just because you can do it that way, it doesn't mean it's the best way. And I'm striving for a better way. And by the way, I don't think it's just a moral objective. I think that it is a financial objective. If we could cut out all of that cost, I think we'll have a better industry. And I think we'll have better relationships, which we know is the fulcrum to driving future work together. And I think that's a really big deal for our industry.
Yeah, I want to focus on that, Josh. You talked at the top about being a good partner within the industry and in life, and it is a relationship business, right? The construction industry is a big, small world, right? Everyone seems to know each other. Document Crunch has some great success stories listed on your website. I invite the audience to go check that out. With that in mind, like, how do you see these relationships strengthening over time? Are there things that you're learning from your partners here that are helping with you, and at the same time, you helping them?
100%. Probably the biggest change since the last time I was on is that we've really gone mainstream in the last period of time. And what I would tell you is, and I remind the team this every day, the crunchers, like my mom would tell you what a smart boy I am and how proud she is of me for everything, but it's certainly with Document Crunch. we're now at a point in the company's like trajectory where I could have never imagined some of the things that what we would need to do to make our customers happy from like a software standpoint. And so I tell the team all the time, don't listen to me anymore. Just shut up and listen to our customers. Like they are a walking, living blueprint for what success needs to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, to answer your question, Michael, I think if you talk to some of our earliest or our biggest customers, and there's a lot of public documentation out there of who we're working with. Some of the big, like, well, I guess so. Bolt, based in Wisconsin, they just announced their enterprise rollout with us a few weeks ago at the ENR. They were one of my earlier customers. I think they would tell you their fingerprints are all over the product roadmap. I think our friends at Balfour Beatty would say the same thing. I think our friends at PCL would say the same thing. And so we're working with a lot of the big ones. We're working with plenty of the small ones too. But I guess the point is all you need to do is listen. And that is a really cool aspect of like where we're at in our journey now. The industry tells us what it needs from us. And so a lot of it is not like things that I dreamed about when I thought of Document Crunch. I mean, it's the mission is unchanged, the vision is unchanged, but how you get there is completely driven by customer feedback. And then similarly, and I would have never known this. So yes, we're a risk reduction platform, but what we also are in this new AI world is a super trusted AI company that our customers are coming to every single day saying, help us with our strategy. What are best practices? Can you meet with our C-suite and walk them through how you think about, data, security, whatever, training? And so, yeah, like it's totally now opened up the other end where we're getting calls every day just saying, hey, like we would love you to marinate on this as a partner because you've been playing with this AI stuff for a long time. That definitely was not on my map of outcomes that we would be getting called almost in a squishier way. But I mean, with it, of course, is a great opportunity to just tie it in what we can do to help them. But that's happening every day.
That's what everyone strives for, right? To be the trusted partner, right? That you get that phone call.
Exactly.
Yeah, novel concept. Listening to your clients, but at least you guys have that direct line of communication again that facilitates that, which is a wonderful thing.
I'll just share one other point on that. I think there's like probably two types of founders. There's some like really genius founders that maybe see things that no one else sees and are driven by this like steadfast conviction. I would say that like with the vision, you probably can't talk me out of this because it's what I'm passionate about. But I think that my empathy for the industry, when we talk about what we want to build at Document Crunch, I literally close my eyes and I think about interactions that I've had in the past and how that could help or made it better or more successful. And so I do think that it is very much in my core, like we are beyond, again, the horizon of what I could have reasonably foreseen now as we kind of got pulled into the mainstream of our market. And so, yeah, I mean, what a great way to build in partnership with the customers. It's really been powerful for us.
Absolutely. Well, certainly an impressive conversation and idea all around that you guys just keep adding to as this thing snowballs. We typically like to leave our audience with 3 key takeaways from each podcast, as you know. And given our conversation today, what do you think? What's your top 3?
Top 3 are if you haven't already, you need to wrap your head around your tariff risk immediately. Like that's a non-negotiable. I don't care whether you use Document Crunch. I don't care whether you want to pay someone to do it for you. I don't care whether you want to take hours to do it yourself. Doesn't matter to me. Like knowledge is power. You can make good decisions when you have the benefit of knowledge. So go get yourself knowledgeable because this is going to be a big risk. And probably there are going to be some companies that, unfortunately don't make it through this time because they haven't managed maybe the risk optimally. So go ahead and get yourself knowledgeable. That's takeaway 1. Takeaway 2 is I have been converted. I am not a technologist by background, as we talked about. I think this AI stuff, when pointed in the right direction, is here and it's going to reshape the industry for the better. So, yes, it's real, but it's up to you to hold vendors like us or partners like us accountable to make it do real things. So definitely understand it is powerful, but go ahead and demand from us that we have powerful solutions built on it, not just that we have it. Finally, third, for both of you, it's aspirational, but I'm putting my flag in the ground. Our industry can have zero disputes. Our industry can have zero disputes. That is why I exist on planet Earth. I'm pretty sure now. I see it and I'm driving toward it every day. I recognize that it's ambitious, but that's where we're going.
Excellent takeaways. Another thing Josh would like to do is an action item, right? So let's say, you got risk managers, GCs, whoever may be listening to the podcast today, and they're like, this makes a lot of sense to me. What's that first step? It sounds a lot like, that internal look first. Would you agree? Like, what do you think there's the first thing they need to be focusing on?
Yeah, on the tariff stuff, go ahead and get yourself educated so you can spend more time like coming up with creative solutions to this, less time being uncertain about like where the risk lies or whatever. So understand the rules of the game and then start to figure out what plays you're going to call. That's one. I think on the AI side, as we're talking about like your kind of cohort of listeners, here's the deal. There's a lot of talk about like job replacement with AI. I think a lot about task replacement, not job replacement. We've seen firsthand folks in this cohort actually have now big career growth because they're using our software essentially to amplify their risk management, to amplify their ability to wrap their arms around the organization and like get better outcomes. This is simply, yes, this can automate some of those tasks, but your job is still super important. In fact, this cohort, you should be the ones bending this technology into a way that makes you much more powerful or amplified.
Yeah. No, I like that. It's our CEO likes to say above the neck work, right? Like anyone can skim through, find the highlight the parts of the contract you're trying to do, but what are you going to do with that? You got to think about the solutions. You got to be able to process that and like you said, bend the technology to work for you. So more time figuring out the solution, less time doing the nitty gritty tasks as we laid out. So Josh, we really want to thank you for coming back on the show. It's been great to reconnect with you here. A couple quick rapid fire questions before we let you go. Clear to see you're energized. You got a vision. I know you want to get to zero disputes. What is it that makes you the most energized about what you're doing in the industry today?
I'll give two rapid fires. One, the dent that we've made, the consistent customer feedback that I get every single day. It is so energizing. I am super proud that in the industry that I love, I can very confidently say, maybe I was a little bit more aspirational last time we spoke. I can very confidently say, like, we're making a big impact in the way this industry is working. I see it every day. It's awesome. More importantly than that, though, is I am so proud of the team that we've built. I am so proud of the types of people that are here. You don't get to the status that we're at right now as a company without having people, filling a lot of that, like the gaps that maybe an early product would have, or areas where there needs to be improvement. The crunchers are just incredible and they inspire me so much. So I'm very proud of the dent that we're making, but the team that we built.
Yeah, and your growth trajectory, I think, is representative of that. We've been fortunate to be able to kind of see that in real time as you guys have grown and developed. And you noted that you're very ambitious in that pursuit. Along those lines, is there such a thing as being too ambitious when it comes to tech and AI and new development and maybe use of those tools?
The answer is yes, I do. I think that I just painted for you my vision, and there's a lot of steps that have to take place for us to get to that vision. I think one area that our industry is potentially being set up for some disappointment is assuming too much or being sold too much. This is not full replacement. This is not full automation. We think of this much more to assist, not to take away. And so to that end, I do see a world where our industry is maybe being sold too much ambition and or expecting too much ambition. It's going to take time. It's going to take time for the technology to morph into solutions that, I don't see full automation coming anytime soon. So I would say yes. I think that is like an area, and that's why I'm saying like hold your vendors accountable to like actually the things that they say they're going to do. And I'll be the first to tell you, like, we're not perfect. And no, we're not going to be able to fully automate someone's job anytime soon. But I do think we're super helpful. And I think if you temper your ambition that way, you're really well served here.
Well, as you say, continue to bend that tool into, something that's productive and useful for the marketplace, for your customers, and along those lines, I think it's been about 2 years, maybe a little longer, since we last had you on the podcast. What would you say is maybe the biggest advancement as you continue to bend those tools to modify them to be, more useful to your customers and continued development?
Yeah, I don't think that large language models were mainstream the last time we spoke. And so I like to say, so here's the blessing for us. We'd already created a very useful tool that was starting to be used. I mean, it's been, I would say, every bit now of 2.5, 3 years that our tool has been found to be very useful by the industry. So we already had what we call product market fit. But then these large language models came. So the best way I could describe it would be like, we created a bike and everyone loved our bike. And then we were able to put an e-bike on it because of large language models. So what it did was it accelerated our value proposition. And so it went from really useful tool to like, we can't live without this. And then from there, the biggest advancement has been really transforming from just really being used like in that legal risk management sense to like assess risk in contracts, and now being used by like much broader segments within the construction industry, including pre-construction and project execution teams. And of course, we all know, you both know this in your roles, that's where all the risk is anyway. So I'm really glad that they're using it, but I would say that that's probably the two biggest changes. So it's become way better and it's become broader.
Yeah, it's making me smile a little bit here. We did a team trip where we actually did some e-biking ourselves, like literal e-biking. And I got to tell you, it's way easier. We did that through Denver, Colorado, and I think I would have died with a regular bike. So even to plugging that analogy back in, it's a great one. Like you guys are just supercharged the roadmap here. So that's awesome. Josh, as you know, wrapping this up, this is the Building Byte podcast. It stands for Building Insurance Technology with the Experts. You're today's expert. Now you're down in Atlanta, Georgia. Where are you taking a bite at today? Where's a good spot to go grab a good bite?
Well, it's funny you say that. I'm about to go on a little hiking meeting with my finance guy who's here. We got some stuff to talk about. So I'm going to take him down to the Roswell Mill. There's a nice waterfall there. And one of my favorite restaurants right across the street is The Mill. It's called The Mill. But I think I'm going to take him to this new food hall in Roswell today. He doesn't know that yet, but we're going to be in kind of hiking clothes anyway, so I can't take him anywhere too nice.
There you go.
So there's a new food hall that opened now what is it called? Oh my gosh, food hall in Roswell. I should know the name of this. But I'm going to take him there, and I told you all I'm still going to stand by. It's still called the Roswell Junction. But I'm going to stand by what you asked me years ago. My favorite restaurant is still Tycoon in Marietta Square, Sushi Thai. It's excellent.
Awesome. See, there's a lot of growth that happens, but not all things have to grow. Sometimes you stick with the same restaurants and tried and true,
That's right.
Well, fantastic. Josh, thanks again for taking time out to chat with us today. If our listeners want to hook up with you or sign up for the Tarriff Risk Assessment Tool, or come hear you speak about it, because I know you are constantly on the move, where's the best place they can find you and link up with you?
Yeah, I mean, LinkedIn, you can come find me. Just put Josh Levy, Document Crunch. I'm very active on there, as you all know. But all of our information is either on social media or just come to our website, documentcrunch.com. There'll be plenty of information there.
Fantastic. Well, thanks again for joining us, and look forward to having you back on soon.
Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time.
Thank you for listening to The Building Byte. This podcast has been brought to you by Proactive. Check us out on thebuildingbyte.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter and follow us on social media for all future The Building Byte news and updates. You can also find us on your favorite apps, including Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Amazon. If you have ideas for episode topics that we should cover on the show, or you know somebody who would be a perfect guest, let us know at connect@thebuildingbyte.com.